Well, first, America's powerful environment watchdog bit Volkswagen. Now its jaws are clamped on Fiat Chrysler, accusing the car maker of using illegal software that distorts emissions tests. Now, Fiat Chrysler denies it, and investors appear relaxed, betting that the new president, Donald Trump, will reduce the watchdog's powers when he takes office in just over 2 weeks' time. Azhar Sukri reports.
Fiat Chrysler ushered in the new year with a radical concept car, a glimpse into how it sees its future. But before it gets there, it has to deal with its past. Following Volkswagen's emissions scandal, the US Environmental Protection Agency investigated many car makers. The EPA says it found that Fiat Chrysler installed software that allowed it to spew out illegal amounts of pollutants into the air. The Dodge Ram pickup truck and Jeep Cherokee sports utility vehicle are among the most popular of all light vehicles sold in the US. In a statement, the EPA said, as part of the investigation, EPA has found at least 8 undisclosed pieces of software that can alter how a vehicle emits air pollution. Fiat Chrysler issued a measured response, saying, FCA US believes that its emission control systems meet the applicable requirements. But the company's outspoken boss didn't hold back. In a conference call to investors, Sergio Marchionne said, "We have done nothing that is illegal." He added, "They, the EPA, think we all belong to a class of criminals. We're not trying to break the bloody law," and described the allegations as unadulterated hogwash. Earlier this month, Volkswagen agreed to pay $4.3 billion in a legal settlement with the Department of Justice for installing software to cheat emissions tests. But analysts say the two cases are very different.
I think what we need to be clear on is that it's not identical to the Volkswagen situation, or at least it isn't yet. It's an inconclusive situation. There's still work going on, and so it's not. In the case of Volkswagen, it was deliberate cheating. They knew they were doing this. It's not clear that that's the situation here.
And investors appear to agree. Initial news of the EPA's statement drove down Fiat Chrysler shares by as much as 18%. But once they took a closer look at the case, the stock rebounded sharply. The EPA appears to be trying to tie up loose ends before the end of the current administration. President-elect Donald Trump has promised to drastically scale back environmental regulations. That could allow Fiat Chrysler to escape Volkswagen's fate. Azhar Sukri, TRT World.
And Azhar's in the studio with us now. Azhar, the Environmental Protection Agency estimates that this could cost Fiat Chrysler about $4.6 billion. In your report, VW has been hit with fines totaling around $20 billion. Why is there a difference there?
And that 20 billion is a conservative number.
Right.
When you take it, that's actually mainly for the US. When you look across the world, you know, it includes many other legal costs, the costs of recalls, not to mention the reputational cost, of course. So at the moment, it looks like the costs of Fiat Chrysler are fairly limited to that for roughly $4.6 billion amount. But these are early days, we have to say, and this could get much, much bigger. Bear in mind also the scale of the recalls, etc. In VW's case, these so-called defeat devices were found in nearly 600,000 cars. Currently, Chrysler's case involves about 100,000.
And so what you were saying is that it starts at X, but it builds and it builds over the months.
That's what happened with Volkswagen. But another crucial difference here between the two cases is in Volkswagen's case. It involved a degree of premeditation and actual cover-ups. And that is what the Department of Justice eventually got involved in, and which resulted in this massive fine that VW had. So far, that level of, misdeed hasn't been found or is being investigated in Fiat Chrysler's case. Right. But as I said, it's early days, and it already looks like it's spreading to Europe. The EU saying that they're also investigating.
And just quickly, we know that French prosecutors have decided to go after Renault. What's that about?
Yeah, this is also a similar sort of case. We don't have very many details as to exactly what it is that EU regulators are going after in terms of Renault. What it has resulted so far, though, is about a 4% drop in its share price. So that's definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on next week.
OK, Azhar, thank you.